Okay, this is a quick review before our quiz about what we learned last class. So we looked at the parent function of square roots, which is just the square root of x. Now if we remember, that graph looked something like this. It almost looks like half of a sideways parabola. It actually is. So we remember that we drew that as our parent function. It had all the x's bigger than 0 and all the y's bigger than 0. It's only in that first quadrant. We looked at how it could be transformed as well. So let's take this one. What all is happening to that graph? Well, the 1/3 is a vertical shrink by 1/3. The x plus 3 moves it left 3. The minus 4 at the end moves the graph down 4. Now you could verify all of that by looking in the calculator, and you should see something like so I went left 3, down 4. My new graph should start down here. And it's going something like that. So what would be my new domain and range? Well, the domain, since we're starting when x is -3, and it keeps going to the right, -3 to infinity. The range, the lowest y value is -4, and it's going up, so to infinity. Let's try one that's a little bit harder. Oh, this one's weird. It's written kind of funny. Maybe we should rearrange it before we tell what's going on. So this is really a +2 minus this. Well, if I rearrange that, it would be a negative square root of x minus 3 plus 2, because that's a +2. Now I can tell everything that's going on. That negative is going to reflect over the x-axis. The x minus 3 moves me right 3. Plus 2 at the end, up 2. Now you can double check with your calculator, but you should see a graph that looks something like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So I know that little point moves right 3 and up 2. It's going to be here. But instead of being this part, it's going to be going like that. Now, so let's think about our domain and range. Our smallest x value is 3, and it keeps going to the right. For our range, oh, now this one's different. Our largest y value is 2, and it's going down from that. So it's the y's that are less than or equal to 2, or you could put negative infinity to 2. So that was part of the lesson last class. The other part was solving equations. So on your quiz, you're going to have some of the transformations. Then you're going to have to solve some equations. So let's take an easy one and then a little bit harder one. So the first step was to isolate our square root. Well, this one's already isolated. So to undo a square root, we square both sides. When you square a square root, they undo each other. So we'll just have 2x minus 1 over here. 3 squared is 9. Now it's just a simple equation. We would add 1 to both sides. So 2x equals 10. So x is 5. Make sure we check them, because sometimes we could have extraneous solutions. So if I plug in 5, into the original equation, that's 2 times 5 is 10, minus 1 is the square root of 9, 3. Yes, it checks. Now, the harder ones. X plus the square root of x plus 3 equals 3. Okay, so we've got to isolate the square roots. That means x needs to be moved to the other side. So I'm going to subtract it and get 3 minus x. Or you could put negative x plus 3, whichever way you want to write it. Now my square root is isolated, so we can square both sides. When you square a square root, they undo each other, so we get x plus 3 over here. Now on the other side, the common mistake is to forget what squaring means. Squaring means we're going to multiply it by itself. Now we need to FOIL. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative x is a negative 3x. Negative x times 3 is a negative 3x. Negative x times a negative x would be a positive x squared. So let's clean that up a little bit on that right side. That's x squared, negative 6x, plus 9. We have a quadratic. So we want to get everything on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 3 and subtract the x. So there'll be 0 left here. That would be negative 7x plus 6. Oh, I like that it doesn't have anything in front of x squared. That makes it a lot easier to factor. The only options are x and x. What multiplies to be a positive 6 but adds to be a negative 7? Negative 6 and negative 1. Now if we set each of those factors equal to 0, we get x equals 6 and x equals 1. We have to check our answers here. Remember, there are extraneous solutions. So if we plug 6 back into the original, 6 plus the square root of 6 plus 3. So that's 6 plus the square root of 9. That doesn't work. That's 6 plus 3. That's 9. What about the 1? One plus the square root of 4. Well, that's 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3. That works. So this one does have a good solution. Now, I think you're ready for your quiz.